So, Tim, first of all, where are you, and describe the scene?
This is, like you said, we've been all over the world seeing a crisis where children are being used and abused in the worst ways. It's happening right here in our country. And it's, who the defense is. It's the churches. It's the local communities who are running to help because our policies don't support a child rescue right now. In fact, our policies are incentivizing traffickers to utilize the system. So we are in between El Paso and Las Cruces, New Mexico. There's 13 churches that we are here to train. They need training. They called us and said, please come help us. We know these children are being trafficked. We think a lot of these kids that are being dumped daily at our churches, 1,000 a day to one church network in New Mexico. And they said, look, we see these kids. We don't think these kids belong to their parents. The people claiming to be their parents, but we don't know what to do. We don't know how to train them, what to tell them. In essence, what's happening is this. And I went down, I talked to a lot of these people who are being helped by these churches. What's happening is there's literally, and I have intel from Guatemala, from my guys on the ground, there's radio ads, for smugglers advertising. We can get you into the United States. Just sign up here, get on the bus. And then they give them two things, Glenn. If they don't have a child, they give them a child that they've kidnapped from some place. They're recycling these kids. Once they get them through, they'll bring them back south, and they pair children up with the people who pay money to the smugglers. And then they give them a name, if they don't have a name of a sponsor, and say, when you get there, show the name to the customs official, and with a name in hand, the person claiming to be the sponsor, and a child in hand, they get released immediately. And then the only people there to take care of them and to do any kind of vetting or helping them with supplies are these churches. And these are the greatest people on the planet. They're not political. They're frustrated that the government's not supporting the efforts, but they've run because they see children in need, and that's why we're here. We're here to train them, to teach them what to look for. And Glenn, I saw this 5-year-old kid yesterday, and I talked to him. I asked him what his name was. I asked him who his dad was. He pointed me to a man. I walked over to the man. Hey, what's your kid's name? Gave me a different name. And so we're making efforts right now to make sure this kid doesn't end up with the quote unquote sponsor who's going to be a trafficker. Okay, our system is facilitating trafficking events. It is absolutely insane. And when you consider the fact,
I want to ask you if you can talk about the two areas of the country that they are going to, that they seem to be concentrating in two areas. Can you talk about that?
Absolutely, yeah. So there's two cities that a lot of them are going to, Atlanta and North Dakota, and this is very concerning because Atlanta is one of the highest trafficking cities in the United States, if not the highest. And then in North Dakota, they're building the pipeline, and even the church folks actually pointed this out to me. They're like, and they actually rescued one of the little girls. They did some follow-up work on their own. And realized that these kids were being sent to North Dakota because they're there to sexually service the workers on the pipeline. So, but this is just a small group of Christian volunteers who are trying to play intel analyst and rescue children on their own because the kids are just dumped on them. And
the Homeland Security or the Border Patrol, they can't do anything, can they? Because of the way the Democrats have set the laws up.
Exactly right. They want to do something, but the policies in place say when that kid comes in, if they have a kid in their hands, you have to let them go right away, 20 days max. But they don't even have time to wait the 20 days because the next 1,000 are coming in the next hour. So they can't do anything. They have to. Our laws are forcing them to just drop them off. And luckily the churches have come and said, well, where are you going to drop them off? We'll make sure we're there, and we'll take them, and we'll do the job that Congress won't let you do. We'll try to do it ourselves. We'll try to vet these kids. We'll try to feed these kids. We'll try to give them food and water.
How are these with 1,000 a day new in 12 days? That's 12,000 people. That's a small city. How are these cities handling this here in the United States? I read a story today where they're just They're just using taxpayer dollars. They're going into their city funds and they're cutting other things because they have to provide water. They have to they have to police it. They have to do something, and they don't have any money to do it.
That's right. They are busting at the seams. You know, the state of New Mexico was generous enough to provide a mobile medical unit. So all the kids that we get we're taking them to make sure they're okay, to check them for diseases. Checking them for sexually transmitted diseases. I mean, Glenn, I met a woman yesterday who she couldn't pay the passage. She was trying to get out of Guatemala because her daughter was being hounded by traffickers, which I know is the case. I know these are true stories. And so she said, I got to get out, but I couldn't pay the fare. So you know what she had to do? She had to be raped 6 times along the path from Guatemala to the border. That was her pay. To the traffickers, to the smugglers. And then they come here, and now we're servicing them. We're checking for STDs. We're getting them medicines. I mean, and this is the community. This is the churches mostly, and they're busting at the seams, and they need help. They need help. They need financial help to provide medicine for these children, for these abused women. They need food, and they need more manpower to do the vetting, to do the job that Congress isn't doing. Basically, to vet these kids and make sure that they don't get sent down the path to some sex trafficker in Atlanta or North Dakota or anywhere else in the United States.